You're among the top earners in the sport now. Does it ever, motivation ever change, or it doesn't come from money for you, right?
No, not never. You know, we getting in there. You know, I'm gonna put on the show, and I'm not gonna slack. You know, in training just because everybody say, "Oh, you're gonna beat this guy." So,
what do you think is the difference between being an athlete like you, who makes it out, you know, among the top earners in your sport, and then the guy Terence Crawford who came in and wasn't making any money? Do you think you're any different at all, or do you think?
I never try to view myself as a different person than the next person. You know, I always view myself as we all equal. I bleed just like you. You know, you're a human being, I'm a human being. So I never want to perceive myself as being superior to the next.
But how does it change your life? Obviously, you know, you have access to like more better training methods, right? And nutritionists. What do you think is the biggest difference in maybe your preparations?
That's one of my biggest difference is the nutrition. You know, coming up, not knowing, you know, how to properly lose weight, starving myself in food and water for a day and a half, you know, going back, drinking Gatorades to try to hydrate, Pedialyte, you know, it was a learning process, you know.
So was that when you were at lightweight, were you doing really extreme things to make weight for your body? Now, did that sort of affect you physically and psychologically?
Oh, it definitely affected me physically. You know, it was hurting my body more than helping it. Once I got with Paulina and her team, you know, that just was a game changer. You know, them putting the right food in my body, the right fluids, telling me what I could eat, what I can't eat, you know, meal prepping, you know, so when it's time for me to eat, I don't gotta go to a fast food restaurant and eat it. Everything is already made. So when I get done working out, the food is already there. So, you know, that's a big plus.
Yeah, because you mentioned the Ricky Burns fight being tough. It was part of that, having to make lightweight, and you had the international travel to Scotland and everything.
No, I actually made, like I said, I was already with them, you know, by that time. But it was the fights before we actually teamed up that I was struggling and it was really hurting me. And the Ricky Burns fight, we had it down to a T. Like, I made weight easy. It was the Beltran fight that, you know, was telling, which was my last fight at lightweight.
Yeah. Anton, Kavalaskus fought Virgil Ortiz. You saw the fight, right?
Right.
You were telling people before that how good Kavalaskus is, and you made it look easy against a guy who was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think maybe people realize now, because he almost hurt Ortiz more than once in the fight, do you think people maybe realize and maybe give you more credit for that one after what he did against Ortiz?
They ain't gonna give me the credit because, you know, in their eyes, I'm supposed to do that. You know, I'm supposed to do that because nobody knows who Kavalaskus is. You know, if everybody knew who he was and, you know, he had this big name, then it would be something. But being that he don't have the name to back all the things that he's done in boxing, then it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but that's the thing about you, is like everyone always holds you to this higher standard because they know how talented you are. So in one way, it's respect, right?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You know, look at Floyd Mayweather. Nobody gave Floyd any credit. You know, they wanted Floyd to fight Triple G at 160. You know, so
You gotta fight Canelo.
that's why I said I gotta fight Canelo next.
Well, how high do you think you will go in weight before your career is over? Do you see yourself going to 54 at some point?
Maybe you never know. You know, like I said, you know, I'm stronger at any weight. I feel like.
I know you mentioned Jamel.
Yesterday you said that after we beat Crawford, after we beat Porter, they're going to say, oh, well, Porter lost to this guy and that guy, and you're not going to get credit. Do you really feel that way, that you won't get credit?
No, I definitely feel that way. It depends on the fashion that I beat him in. You know, it's writers and it's people out there that give me credit. You know, but it's always going to be them people that, oh, he was supposed to be Porter, or Porter is the gatekeeper, or he's supposed to do this, he's supposed to do that. You know, now we want to see him against Errol Spence. We want to see him against, you know, 154 champions. So it's always going to be that. And I'm just preparing myself for when that comes.
But with with Aaron Spence currently injured, with Manny Pacquiao retired, I mean, isn't this fight with Porter actually the best fight in the welterweight division? Right?
Yeah, it's one of them. It's definitely one of them. But you still got fighters out there like Thurman and Ugas, and you know these younger fighters that's coming up in the division that's making their way into the stardom. But I don't believe, you know, Porter is the only welterweight out there that I can showcase my talent at a high level with. You know, I believe Thurman is a bigger fight in my eyes. You know, but Thurman is doing whatever he's doing. You know, so
Why do you feel that it's a bigger fight?
Because, you know, I feel like Thurman, he was considered the #1 fighter in the division. You know, whether anybody likes it or not, Thurman was the #1 guy in the division. Pacquiao beat him. Nobody else beat him.
Yeah.
And beat Shawn.
Yeah, I mean, I know you and I disagree at times on, you know, that stuff, but I think you have to get a ton of credit if you beat Porter. Porter, like, look at this fight with Thurman, and Thurman barely beat him. The Spence fight was super close until the knockdown, and you know, I don't like to knock guys for losses. Like, Shawn Porter takes on tough fights, he brings it, he's a really good fighter, and I think whatever fashion you win it, like, this is the biggest win of your career.
Definitely.
Terence, does part of you feel that Shawn might be, you know, distracted heading into the fight, commentating a lot of fights, doing media around, you know, his podcast and whatnot?
Not at all. Not at all. Shawn is a strong-willed type of guy. You know, business is business. He's gonna handle his business, and then he's gonna probably go run 7 miles right after, you know, he do his little commentating and do his job on the network. That's just an illusion to make you think that he's not working when he's definitely working.
How important are the styles here? Because obviously you could fight going backward, you could fight going forward, and you're one of the few guys who can do that. But I think Shawn coming forward is going to make it a really great fight and bring out the best in you, because you're going to have the opportunities, right, to counterpunch. And I mean, I just can't see this being a bad action fight.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. But like you said, and like you heard, you know, his dad say, they got to change up their whole game plan, their approach, how they're gonna approach Terence Crawford. You can't approach me like you approach everybody else, because, you know, I'm a sharp puncher, I'm a hard puncher, and I'm a crisp puncher. So, you know, and I'm a great counter puncher. You know, so you got to be aware of all those traits when getting reckless and, you know, doing things that can lead you in a bad position.
When I spoke to Shawn, he said that he thinks you're better than Errol Spence. He thinks you're the best welterweight in the world and the best fighter in the world. But he thinks that the one advantage he has over you is the experience and the opposition. You know, he's fought Thurman and Errol Spence and all these other guys, and he thinks that experience that he thinks you don't have could be the edge.
He never fought me before, though. So he never know. He never been in the ring with me. We never sparred, no nothing. So, you know, that's still undecided how well your experience will take you, because you may experience something that you never experienced before.
But from that all same token, shouldn't you become a better fighter after this fight too? Fighting someone like Shawn that you're going to be more experienced from?
It depends on how the fight go. It depends on what he brings to the table. It depends on what I have to go through to get the victory. You know, if I have to go through things that I've never been through before, then yes, it will make me a better fighter, because, you know, I've grown from the war that I was just once in. You know, but if not, if, you know, he doesn't show me anything that I've never seen before, then how can I grow? You know?
Is that a regret for you that now Pacquiao appears as your title?
It's not. It wasn't in my control.
No, I know,
you know?
but I mean, when you look back, you say,
I can't regret something. I can't regret it. You know, because everything happened for a reason. You know, am I disappointed? Yes, definitely. But I can't regret not getting a fight that I couldn't possibly get because it wasn't in my control.
I heard Errol Spence say, it was either today or yesterday, that he pushed hard for the fight. He's moved past it. Like, why is he saying that he's moved past it now when it seems like the fight is still as big as it?
I said
bigger.
I moved past it.
Oh, you said. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
I said I moved past the fight.
Okay, so you moved.
Being that, you know, ever since I came in the division, I've been calling out these top welterweights. If you date back all the way till 2018 when I fought Jeff Horn, right after they interviewed me,
right.
You can go back. Terence Crawford want to fight Thurman. Terence Crawford want to fight all the champions. And the next fight, and the next fight, and the next fight. Now here he is, 2021. We still going through the same thing. And it's like, you know, I'm wasting my time. I'm not wasting my time anymore.
I know you're high on Ugas, and you picked him to beat Pacquiao. You know how good of a fighter he is. Do you think he beat Porter?
It was a close fight. That was a real close fight. You know, I can see with the knockdown, yeah. If he would have been granted the knockdown, he would have won the fight. But being that he didn't, I kind of say, you know, Porter could have edged him in them last couple of rounds.
I know you guys are going to agree to disagree on a lot of things, meaning you and Shawn over the next 6 weeks. Upstairs, he said that Kavalaskus should have counted as a knockdown. I know you feel the complete opposite. So
my thing is, even if it would have counted as a knockdown, what does it matter? it wasn't like his fight. You know, going 12 rounds, I stopped him. You know, so even if it was whoop-de-doo, now what? He scored a knockdown and got knocked out. So
did you feel Kavalaskus wasn't quite the same the next fight?
He definitely wasn't. The heart wasn't there. He was out of shape. You know, he got tired. You know, he just gave up. If you watch the man live, give up and didn't have that same fire in his gut that he once had before fighting other fighters.
Yeah, and I totally get that you don't want to keep chasing something that when it doesn't seem like it's going to come to reality. But let's say, because they keep insisting to me that Spence is healthy now. Let's say Spence fights Ugás early next year and wins. Do you still want that fight? I know you're not going to maybe, you know, waste your time chasing it, but would you be receptive to it? Or?
I don't know.
So much money.
Do you feel
So much money.
Who knows? It's a lot of money elsewhere.
Not that much.
do you
How
feel
you know?
I'll guarantee you.
How you know?
I'll bet.
Can I just ask a quick question at Josh Taylor? Obviously, followed
That's a money fight right there.
That's what Josh Taylor
That's good.
There you go.
That is
Look at
good.
you.
That
Now
is
you
good.
changing your mind.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. You in Texas is bigger.
Sorry, Terence. Can I
I
ask
don't know. What about me in UK? What if I go over there? Yeah, see?
what's your opinion of Josh Taylor and him and the potential?
He's a good fighter. You know, like I said yesterday, you know, that's a good fight that's, you know, later on down the line could potentially be a great pay-per-view fight.